What's the one e-commerce trend you are super bullish on?
I would kind of say two. One right now is direct mail.
What's that one thing AI changes forever in e-commerce?
Customers shop. Right now you can game it, which is there's a window of opportunity where if you're a brand, you can, and I encourage brands to do this.
Where can people learn more about Repeat and how they can get into the Repeat program?
I would love to help anyone that wants to grow their recurring revenue. Subscriptions are great. We of course always do subscriptions, but Repeat is REPETE.me.
Subscription probably might not be the right solution for every customer. Is that fair to say?
I want to be very clear. I'm not against subscriptions at all. I think subscriptions are fantastic we still do subscriptions.
How does customer support look like for your merchants, and what have you learned around customer support at that scale?
We see customer support as not something we have to do, not something we try to avoid.
Hello, and welcome to the SaaS Hub Shopify Podcast. I'm your host, Yuvraj Kivte, founder at thesaashub.com, where we help merchants discover the best apps and tools for their tech stack. This episode is supported by the support heroes. More on them later. Today's guest has had a front row seat to the evolution of e-commerce. Jay Myers is the founder of Bold Commerce, one of the most recognized companies in the Shopify ecosystem, serving over more than 100,000 plus merchants over the years. And more recently, Jay has been focused on a new venture called Repete, which is rethinking how brands approach repeat purchases and customer retention. Jay also hosts his own Shopify 1% podcast, where he interviews some of the top operators and founders in e-commerce. Jay, welcome to this show.
It is such an honor to be here, and thank you for that thoughtful, kind, and well-researched introduction. That I really appreciate that.
Awesome. So Jay, you have had amazing visibility into hundreds and hundreds of brands over the years, right? Most people only get to see one store at a time, but being with Bold, you have seen patterns across the entire ecosystem. When you zoom out that far, what becomes obvious for you?
That's a great question. I was a merchant myself back since 1998, put one of my stores on Shopify in
Wow.
2009, and then we started building apps in 2012, and we've had, she was just looking, we're right about to cross 800,000 stores that not actively using at this exact moment, but that have used a Bold app since 2012. And so, yeah, we have seen a ton. It's interesting because I think that's such a great question because there's so many distractions right now, like everything AI is not a distraction. That's a big thing that you should be focusing on. But within that, there's a ton of things, and it's very easy as a merchant to get distracted and try things that, don't necessarily move the needle. And I think a lot about sports. Like I grew up playing sports, and the things that the best teams do right is the fundamentals. It's not all the fancy trick plays. It's not all the, weird and fancy looking shots or whatever sport analogy it is, but they do the fundamentals right. Like if it's basketball, they dribble properly, they execute their passes, they're in good position, etc.
Right.
And I think a lot of that actually applies with e-commerce. Like there's fundamentals. And so when you ask about like patterns that we see, with brands that are successful, is they're doing the fundamentals right. And like the fundamentals are, e-commerce is, the way we see it is, when you acquiring a customer is the first step in a
Right.
journey. And when you acquire a customer, your job as an e-commerce brand is to then take that customer, educate them on your product, educate them on your brand, your values, get them the real business starts on the second order and then the third order. And the real valuable companies are built when they focus on building highly repeatable businesses. That's one of the reasons why we're focusing on Repeat, which you mentioned in the intro. But that's a consistent trend. Like if I look at every single store that is successful, and if I go in their analytics and I run reports on their repeat business, it's healthy. There's almost no healthy stores that are like one and done and customers don't come back. So like there's a lot more, but that's a big one for sure. And it's just like fundamentally sound. You have to do that well.
One thing I keep hearing again and again from most of the merchants that even I talk to for podcast or for other consulting gigs is customer acquisition keeps getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
Advertising costs are going up, CAC is going
Hmm.
up, user attention is getting fragmented. There is competition everywhere in every category, every niche. Do you agree with that? And what do you think has changed over the last decade in user acquisition or even from the subscriptions or retention point of view?
I agree 100%. I don't just agree with it. Like it's not just my qualitative opinion. The data supports exactly what you're saying. So in the last 3.5 years, just under 4 years since, because we're midway through this year, customer acquisition cost has gone up 222% of what the average merchant was paying 3.5 years ago to acquire a customer to today. In 2013, the average merchant paid $9 to acquire a customer. Now it's 29, and actually a lot of brands are paying far more than that, because there's some brands that are really learning how to acquire customers for not that much, so they're driving that down. But yeah, three big things. One, acquisition costs for most brands has doubled or tripled in the last 5 years. Search traffic is drastically down. Every brand we talk to says they're getting 40, 50, 60% less traffic from Google. And Google actually put out a report recently. This was about 4 or 5 months ago, so I bet you the number's even higher now. But they said that 61% of all searches on Google no longer end up in a click. So that means people type something into Google and they just read the AI overview, or they read the hours of operation, the directions are right there, the reviews for the restaurant are right there. Like, you don't have to leave the Google search page. So about 6 months ago, it was 61% of searches don't end in click. I haven't seen what the updated, I bet you it's higher. It has to be higher. It's not going down because Google's doing everything to drive you to the AI overview. And the other thing is people aren't just, they're not going to Google anymore. They're opening up ChatGPT and Claude and whatever other tools they're using. So search traffic is drastically down. And then the third big thing is agentic commerce is here. It's early, but people are not shopping on your site and reading all your reviews and reading all your content. They're just going to ChatGPT saying, what is the best black t-shirt that doesn't wrinkle, whatever. And they'll
Right.
ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT will show 3 options, and you might click and go to that website, but you're a lot of the time clicking and buying, and it is the whole experience. Like, it varies country by country if you can complete the purchase within ChatGPT yet, but it's within the next 12 months. Like, there is a very real world where I'm not going to say your website doesn't matter. I think your website is still important, but it's primarily like feeding the AI, the data, that this whole shopping experience is going to live within whatever AI model the shopper's using. So to your point, yes, traffic is more expensive. People aren't finding you through search. And with agentic commerce, they're not coming to your site. So, I mean, a lot of that actually just goes back to the point about the importance of repeat revenue. Is like, once you get a customer, you pay so much to get them, they're not coming through search, and they might not even visit your site. They're just asking ChatGPT what product they should buy. Once you actually get them, like, treat them like gold and do everything you can to nurture them. And that's a whole nother conversation, but once you have them, it's the lead that you need to grow and nurture. They're the little baby seed customer that you need to grow. So no, you're bang on.
Now, since you have been in the subscription space for a longer time than anyone else in the ecosystem, I think for years, subscription became almost synonymous with retention.
Mhm.
If a merchant wanted more recurring revenue, there is subscriptions. If they wanted predictable cash flow,
Mm.
again, subscriptions. If they wanted better customer lifetime value, again, they fall back to subscriptions. But
Yeah.
are subscriptions and retentions actually the same thing, or have we just merged two separate ideas together and kind of started disguising subscription as retention?
I love this question. This is such a deeper question than it might even sound on the surface, because subscriptions are fundamentally before I actually finish that thought, have you heard of the jobs to be done theory?
Yep.
There's like this,
Everything has one particular thing that they need to do,
that it
right?
does it. It's a tool that does it. Yeah. So like I'll use a hammer as an example. So like a hammer is used for putting in a nail, but what you really need is you need the nail in the wall. And there might eventually be a better tool than a hammer. There might be a nail gun, or there might be another tool a screwdriver, and a screw sticks in the wall better. But so the tool evolves, and actually what the customer really needs is they don't need a nail in the wall. They need a shelf on the wall. It's not even about the nail. It's about the shelf. And then if you go one step further, do they really need the shelf, or do they just need a good place to put their books? And so there's two important things to think about: is never mistake the tool for the solution. The tool is one of the ways to do it. So circling back to your question about subscriptions, subscriptions are a tool that gets products to customers on a pretty much a fixed schedule, like give or take. You can modify and you can skip months and do different things, but give or take, it's a fixed schedule. Now, that is good for a segment of customers for sure. But I think what's happened is, so we launched subscriptions on Shopify in 2014, and from 2015 through 2019, it was like a gold rush for subscriptions. Like if you did subscriptions, you were better than your competitor. And I remember when Chewy launched subscription for pet food, it was like, whoa, I can subscribe to pet food now, and I never have to go to the grocery store and buy pet food again. It just comes. Like, it was revolutionary. Now, try to find a pet food store or website that doesn't have a subscription. Like, every single one has a subscription. It's not a competitive advantage anymore. It's just table stakes. So, but there was a period where every single store that did it was crushing it, and it was the best thing ever. Now it's like you have to have subscriptions. But what started to happen is more and more people, at first, subscriptions promised the world convenience. And it was like, you don't have to think about your dog food, or you don't have to think about your protein powder. It'll just show up at your door, and it was going to be relaxing and take the stress away. But what it actually did is, over the years, as customers got more and more and more subscriptions, the mental load of managing those subscriptions actually became more friction, and the fatigue, and people started to hit what's called subscription fatigue. And I'll just give a story. Like my example of this is, I had a protein powder subscription, and protein powder is like pretty big jugs, and I didn't get through. I mean, protein powder, you scoop it. I don't know, some days I forget to take it or whatever. Anyways, I didn't get through my protein powder, and my next jug came, and I had this big jug, and I put it in our pantry in the kitchen. And my wife was like, another one? And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to pause my subscription, and it's like taking up our pantry. And then we were away on vacation for a week, and I didn't get through that second one. And then the third one came. And then my wife saw the third protein powder, and it was taking the whole shelf. And she's like, Jay, cancel this stupid subscription already. So I went and I canceled the subscription. I eventually worked through the protein powder. And then like a week later, I was at Costco, and big like grocery store, and I just saw some protein powder on the shelf there, and I bought the protein powder. And I like the protein powder that I was subscribed to. Everything about it's fantastic. It's clean, all that good stuff. But I'm not that particular about my protein powder. So when I saw the protein powder at Costco, I just went and bought it there. But the moral of the story is, that brand did everything right. They acquired me right. They had a great product. I loved their product. I loved everything about it. But I just didn't love the subscription. And then I ended up canceling it, and I just ended up buying it somewhere else. And I don't subscribe to protein powder anymore because I use it so infrequently, and because it's a big thing. And you could probably think of a lot of things in your life too. Like, start looking around your house, from like shampoo, deodorant, soap, toilet paper, coffee, toothpaste. These are all things you use, but do you subscribe to every single one of them?
None.
Right. Why not? It's friction to manage. You don't know exactly when you're going to need it, and it's not. And so what we've realized is like the world tried to put everything into a subscription, and I think we went a little bit overboard. Like everything you can get on a subscription now, and we just the world got subscription fatigue in general, and so that's where we're trying to help brands now is and we can get into and talk about it, but I don't want to get ahead of it, but is subscriptions solve for a segment of customers, but there's a whole nother world of customers that want products over and over, but they don't want a subscription. And
Hmm.
so the tools need to evolve to reach those customers, just like the hammer needs to evolve and so on.
I think this protein powder thing hit me very hard because I started my fitness journey 3 months back. I used to weigh 110 kgs. For the last decade, I neglected my health. Somehow, all of a sudden, my brother is getting married. So I have a goal like by November, I have to drop like 30 kgs, get in the best shape. And my kids are like, Papa, we want to play more with you, want to
Aw,
go out
that's
more.
awesome.
And I was like, yeah. So all of that, I started doing it. And same thing happened with me. I subscribed to one of the best protein solutions out there. I had the initial pack, and then I went to my mom and dad's place, my hometown, and I forgot to carry the box over there.
Yep.
So I bought it off the shelf for, for the 10-20 days stay I had, but I forgot that I need to pause my Amazon subscription for this protein powder. And when I came back, within like a couple of days, there was this another box delivery. So I had the one box which I had at my current place. Then I had the one which I purchased when I was in my mom and dad's town. And
Yep.
then when I came back, I had again the third box, which all was sitting in the
And they're
kitchen
big too,
shelf.
right? Like they're not like
Yeah,
little
yeah, they're
little thing.
literally like this big, like
Yeah.
1 kg, 2 kg boxes. And literally, we had this conversation where my wife was like, "Hey, why are you subscribing to things? Why can't you just buy when you know that this is gonna end in the next 5-6 days?" And then I canceled it. So I'm no longer
Yep.
subscribed. I'm only
Yep.
gonna buy the moment I'm like, okay, it's like 5-6 days of protein remaining, and let's go and buy. And I think
Yep.
why it's even more important, whatever you just said, because it's not some random person talking about subscription in that order or that fashion, but you had been there, you had operated Bold subscriptions for over a decade. And I think that's why it's so much important, whatever you just said right now. And what I
Hmm.
am hearing is essentially subscription isn't bad in a honest way, but subscription probably might not be the right solution for every customer. Is that fair to say?
You nailed it. You nailed it. And I want to be very clear. I'm not against subscriptions at all. I think
Absolutely.
subscriptions are fantastic we still do subscriptions. It's a big part of what we do. But but we've realized that it's not for every customer. It's not for every product. And like there are just some people that will never subscribe. Like, if you have some people have been burnt by a subscription because they couldn't cancel and then they just go, that's it. I'm never subscribing to anything again. And there are those people. And so like, no matter how good your offer is, how perfect your subscription is, um, you just will never get that customer because it's like they have a policy that we don't subscribe to anything in our household. And so, that's the moral of it is subscriptions serve a segment of customers, but they're not perfect for everyone or every product.
Yeah, I think that keeps on happening because subscriptions became more focused on solving the merchant problem rather than the user problem. Is
Yes.
that a fair assumption?
100% a fair assumption. And the thing is, every merchant wants the predictable recurring revenue. And so they want to get people on a subscription. And to be fair, investors, they do look at that. Like that is like if you're getting acquired or getting investment in your e-commerce brand, when you have subscription revenue, it's it's more valuable than your one-time revenue. But if
Hmm.
I was talking to Jeremy Horowitz recently, and he acquires Shopify brands, and I asked him, what is the number one thing you look for when you acquire a brand? Like how do you tell it's healthy and you want to acquire it? And he said the very first thing they do is they get access to the Shopify store, they go in the analytics, and they run a report on the repeat revenue numbers. They look at
Okay.
what percentage of customers are coming back, how often are they coming back, and how healthy are the returning customers. Not how many new customers are coming in, but how many are buying again and buying a third time and a fourth time. And then I said, well, do you care if they're on like subscription or not? And he goes, don't care at all. He goes, if you've got a business where customers are coming back 10, 11, 12 times, they're not on a subscription. That doesn't matter. It's the repeat rev component of the business. That's all they care about. And so I think there's a little bit of a misconception that they have to be on a subscription for your revenue to be predictable and recurring. It doesn't. Like, you don't have to force that. The important thing is that the customer comes back and buys again. That's all that matters. And there's
Yeah, I think when
multiple ways to do that, which is what we're trying to do
yeah,
with our repeat commerce suite.
true. I think when a non-subscribing merchant keep coming back again and again, I feel that's even stronger mode, and that there is no commitment, there is no foundation, that they are not bound with the subscription, but they are still coming back because probably your product is best, they're getting better results from your product and they love it. So I think that should add add-on value in terms of the leverage the store is having, right? Not just the subscription revenue point of it.
And interestingly enough, so one of the brands, I guess I tell you about Repeat because I have some interesting data points on what you just said. So the app that you mentioned at the beginning of the show, Repeat, it's an AI prediction, an AI reorder agent that predicts when customers need a refill, and then nudges them to reorder. So different timing for each customer, different channel for each customer, different messaging. So depending on how you use your protein powder versus how I use my protein powder, I get nudged at different times for a one-click reorder. So not a fixed subscription, but it's just a, hey Jay, it looks like it might be time for more protein powder based off of your usage. Are you ready for more? Yes, confirm, done. And then it learns depending on how I reorder. So if I say, no, remind me in 7 days, or yeah. And what we find is it's pretty good right off the first month because it looks at all order history and everything else. But for about the first 6 months, it just keeps getting better and better, and the conversion goes up and up and up. And after about 6 months, it's fully optimized. And then when new customers come in, same thing. But we see that about 6 months, it really gets really good. And so we have a brand Built Bar, was just built BUILT.com. They sell protein bars, and they're a huge brand here in North America. They're at Walmart and Costco and everywhere. They do subscriptions as well, but he wanted to try Repeat, and it's when I say Repeat, it's REPETE. So that's like the name, the person, Repeat. So he wanted to give Repeat a try. He installed it just about 3 months ago now, and about 2 months after using it, he messaged someone, actually a guy from Sub Summit. He was talking to him and mentioned on a call that they are 4xing their subscriptions. New repeat revenue is 4x what their subscriptions are driving. So Repeat, the predictive nudges, are driving 4 times more new repeat revenue. Not 4 times all of the subscriptions in total, but net new repeat revenue. Repeat, the app, was growing at 4 times faster than their subscription program. And it doesn't touch subscribers. Like if a customer's on a subscription, it leaves them alone. Like that's ideal. But it does, like when someone cancels a subscription, it does try to catch them and turn them into one-click reorders. But if someone's on a subscription, it doesn't touch them. So that's not cannibalizing subscriptions at all. So I reached out to the founder. His name is Jeff, and this is all public because we ended up doing a case study on it. So he shared all this information. I reached out to him and I said, Jeff, like I heard you told Paul from Sub Summit that you are 4xing new repeat revenue with Repeat, our app. And then I said, can we use that as a quote at Sub Summit, like on a slide? And he emailed back and he said, not only, yes, you can use that as a quote, but not only that, he shared his LTV numbers. He goes, our LTV and AOV for one-time customers is this. For subscriptions, it was about 10% higher. And then
Uh-huh.
AOV, not LTV. And then for repeat customers, it was like probably about 30, it was $20 higher and we're only in like double digits here because our AOV is not like super high. But it was about 30% higher. So to your point, they are also spending more and they're more valuable customers. And so then I asked him, why do you think that is? And he said his theory is that customers on a subscription get flavor fatigue, which if you go on builts.com, you'll see they have like a ton of different flavors. They got like sour berry, protein bars, banana, like all kinds of different flavors. Like it's tons. And then, but the problem is when someone's on a subscription, they sign up for one flavor and then they eventually get tired of it. But his most valuable customers are the ones that keep coming back on their own and trying different flavors. They don't get tired of it. So I think there's I don't know if that's true for every store, but we're seeing really good data on the value of those customers as well too. Like it's not just that we're getting them to come back, but they're as valuable or more valuable as a subscriber. So, to the earlier question, like brands just want to get customers on a subscription. I don't think you have to do that. Like if they want to go on a subscription, that's great, but they can be just as valuable even if they're not.
So I think most people assume that predictability is something that drives loyalty. But I think what Repeat is doing is it's offering customers flexibility, yet they're able to buy their favorite products without being committed to a monthly, weekly, or a recurring subscription. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, there's no such thing as a cancel button. There's no cancel. Like you have them engaged forever. And if they miss a month, that's okay. And then it picks them up next month and says, notice you didn't order last time. No problem. Is now a better time. And if it misses again, it waits and then it reactivates them after a period. So the analogy I think about sometimes is when you don't have to break up with something, it's you actually stay around longer. So like if you're in a relationship and if you don't see the person for 6 months, like you start saying, well, maybe we should break up. We haven't talked for a week or we haven't, but if me and you are friends and if we don't talk for a week or if we don't talk for a month, I don't message you and say, hey, we probably should break up our friendship. Like that would be weird, right? Like that's not because there's no formal commitment. It's, but if we were formally committed and then we don't talk for a month, that's a little bit weird. Then we say, okay, maybe we should break up. So the irony of it being optional and not a fixed committed is there's never that sense of like, oh, I should cancel. I should end my commitment. And so, the customers actually stay around longer because they're not committed. So it's a bit of a ironic way how it works.
Nice. Have you tried maybe reaching out to all of your existing subscription customers and pitching them Repeat? And what were their initial feedback, or is there adoption from existing subscribers?
Yes. I think so far we are batting 100%. So the app is actually, if you go to the App Store, you won't find it.
Yeah, I was about to ask you.
Yeah. So you have to go to repeat.me and you enter to install it. It'll take you through an install flow and then it puts you in a waiting line. And we are working through people as fast as we can, but it usually doesn't take long. It's usually only a day or two. Like we're pretty quick, but we want to personally onboard every single person. And so there's not a lot of work to set it up. It basically asks you a lot of questions like, hey, do you want to give discounts on your reorders? Is there any products that should be a different product after? Do you want to set up the styling, the branding? It's AI, so you give it the tone and guidance of how it should talk. You don't have to write any templates. You just you give it your brand voice. We just walk the merchants through all of that. But the way we've priced it is it's 100% free. There's no There's no app fee. There's no SMS fees. There's no contracts. There's nothing. There's only a fee if it actually generates an order.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
so, yeah, and that's the way we thought about it. It's since it's a sales agent, it's an AI reorder sales agent. It should only get paid if it makes you a sale. And so if it doesn't make you a sale, it's zero. Like it could be installed for 6 months and it could send 10,000 SMS. There's zero charge, no cost for anything, unless it actually drives a sale. And so most I think honestly, it's like we're very close to 100% of every store that we've shown it to, and we're just one by one reaching out to stores because we're personally onboarding them. They all kind of say, okay, yeah, let's give it a try.
Right.
And we've had almost like no uninstalls. Like it work unless your store does not have any replenishable products. Like, I don't know, maybe you sell furniture or something like, but if you have any type of replenishable product, it will drive reorders. It's just, I'll tell you that the best store we've seen is 22%. The worst store is 1.1%. So there's a range, but it's never been zero.
Yeah.
So
Are you guys planning to make it available for public on the App Store anytime soon?
yeah, so it is available for public. Anyone can install it. You just have to go through
The website.
repeat.me. Yeah,
Okay.
because we want to personally onboard every person. We're trying to. I mean, I think there's two things that the future of apps on Shopify need to do. Is one is they need to be a human touch. Like I don't anyone that follows you on social media, you put a post out about it recently, but there was like 1,000 new apps in 1 week on Shopify. And it's insane. And I actually feel for any merchant. I've talked to a lot recently, and I've had merchants tell me, they're like, oh yeah, we don't even go to the App Store anymore because the reviews are fake, and I don't even know if there's a person that's going to support me with that app, and who knows, and blah blah blah. And I'm not saying the reviews are fake or not, but there's been trust lost. And when there's 1,000 new apps a week, and I think there was like 120 new upsell apps last month. Like what? Like which one do you pick? And then if you install one, are they going to be gone in 2 months? And so we've been building apps for 14 years now. It's really important for us that each person that installs it, we introduce them to a human on our side. They get their direct email. We get on a call, and it's I think when anyone can vibe code an app now, the human component is much more important. So that's why we want them to go through that flow, so we can actually help you and make sure it's optimized. And then if anything goes wrong, or if you have any questions, you have a human to talk to. The other thing I think, just going back to the pricing model, is I think we're going to start seeing more SaaS priced like that. Like software should be working for you. The days of paying $99 a month for software, whether you use it or not, are over, I think. Everything now is credit based. Like if you use it, you use credits, you get something from your software. And so I just think that was another big reason why we knew we had to price it this way. Is I think it's early, but our kids would laugh if we said this is $99 a month. They would just be like, what? How? I don't, what credits, usage, tokens? Don't I just pay if it actually works? Like software should work for you. And so that was another big reason why we priced it that way.
So I think the pricing definitely is going to be a game changer. I don't think any other app in this category specifically is doing it, and I don't even know if there are even any other apps which exactly what Repeat is doing. I think Repeat is the only one and unique app which is actually doing it. For sure, I'm 100% sure there are going to be copycats now.
Yeah.
Now that they start seeing how Repeat is successfully driving 1.5 to 22% conversion rate, I think that's something which is really fascinating. What I wanted to understand is, what are your thoughts on all of these AI slop and all of these AI that has given anyone and everyone the capability of launching an app overnight on the App Store?
The dust is going to settle on it probably in 12 to 18 months. but right now it's like everyone has been given a paintbrush and they can paint, and they were never allowed to paint before because they didn't know how to use a paintbrush. And um, so two things are going to happen. One is we will see some really, really awesome apps because some people who understand the space well and truly, like, maybe they've been a merchant for 12 years and they've built a brand and they know the intricate problems that brands face, and but they're not a developer, but now they can build a tool that might solve that problem. And as long as they support it and, you know, continually add improvements and add value, like, it'll be awesome. But then there's this whole other, I see it in like Reddit forums, I see it everywhere. It's like, well, either they just go to like ChatGPT or Claude, what app should I build for Shopify? And they're in all these Reddit threads, and it's just garbage. Like, it's just, they'll all be gone. So we're gonna see some really, really good stuff,
Uh-huh.
like 10% of it, and I think 90% of it is garbage, but we'll see some really awesome stuff. So like there will be, because it's enabling a new segment of people that maybe, like if you're a merchant, and so like I run a podcast, you run a podcast, I built a tool. I'll give it to you if you want. It's actually awesome. I built a tool recently that when I am interviewing someone for the Shopify 1% podcast, I build out a brief, and which you probably do too. It's not like you had a lot of like research and stuff. So I have a brief, I have a bunch of links about the guest. And then I have my questions, like, you know, their bio, their LinkedIn profile, their Twitter handles, if they have a blog, website, everything. And I kind of put it on this brief. And then I usually have that as like my show notes while I'm doing the interview. So I thought, you know, what if as I was doing the interview, I could, based off of what the guest says, I could see suggested questions to ask or what to
Ooh,
probe on my screen, basically as if I was like a famous celebrity doing an interview. I'd have a little earpiece in my ear, and someone would
right.
be saying like, "Oh, Jay,"
How's
and
it?
if the guest says something and says, "Challenge that statistic. That's not the right number," or "Here's the proper data on that stat." Or if they say something like, "Oh, can we go deeper because you actually went to this university and you would know," and like the person would be like, "Whoa, how did you know that?" So I built this and it's awesome. And so like I uses, so as I use Riverside as well. And then, so I share the audio from the Riverside tab into this app, and then it picks up my audio. And so it live transcribes it. And then as the guest is saying something, it will show a stat or related to it. Sometimes it actually suggests a joke to make, or it tells me like, oh, here's a good question to ask based on that. So I've got a feed. And then on the left-hand side, I have my 8 questions or topics that I want to touch on, and it's listening to the conversation. So if I ask one of the questions or if it comes up, it understands that and it crosses out that question. So I know that, like, because sometimes a question kind of gets answered that's near the end of your list, and the AI is smart enough to know that, okay, he basically answered that question. So it would be dumb if I asked that question again. I'll share it with you. You can use it. But now, so I do podcasts. I love podcasts, and I'm not a developer actually.
She's like,
This is not something, this product would not have existed without someone who's passionate about podcasting and has a great idea and wants to build it. And so I think we're going to see stuff like that come out. You know what I mean? Like, it's like neat tools like that. So when you get someone who knows a space intimately well, and now you give them access to hammers and nails and stuff, and they can actually build, we'll see awesome things built. But in the meantime, for the next 12 or 18 months, we're going to see a lot of garbage. A lot.
no, I think what you said
Like,
right now, this tool for sure sounds amazing. I would love to definitely try it out.
oh, you
And
can use it. Yeah, I'll give it to you.
yeah, my personal experience is also the same. I mean, I'm specifically not doing anything in the Shopify space around AI, but then I've been using Lovable, I've been using Replit and a couple of other tools to whip out micro SaaSes around my own challenge. Like, for an example, recently I use Fathom AI note taker for all of my calls whenever I do
Yeah.
interviews for app curation. Now I'm kind of writing my book, which I'm planning to launch it or publish it towards the end of this year.
Oh,
And I
amazing.
kind of wanted to go through all of those transcripts, all the notes, the wins, the losses, the GTM strategies, and everything. One challenge I recently faced was there is no export all transcript option within Fathom. And
Oh,
I had to go and export every call
you
and
got to
then
use,
copy.
you got to switch to granola. Get granola. It's way better. Gran-
I've been using Fathom for years, so
oh,
I
so all
think
your
I
stuff
have
is
that
in, your
switching
stuff is in there
hesitation.
now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think more than 2000 plus calls are there. So
Oh,
switching,
yeah.
I'm not sure how tough it's gonna be. But what I did is last week, I kind of used Lovable. I created this agent where I can just use Fathom's OAuth login and
Mm.
export all of my meetings. And at one single click, I'm able to export all the transcript for all that meeting with the right names, with the right context, with the right time, the guest details, and everything in any format that I want. And I kind
Yeah.
of did an experiment where I like exported 100 plus calls. And it took less than 5 minutes to get all of those 100 call exported. And when I tried to compare it, like typically it takes about 2 to 3 minutes to export one call because you copy, paste, then you create a file, then you rename it, you take the notes, go back and forth. So 100 into 3 minutes, that's
Yeah.
way too long time versus I'm now able to export 100 calls in within 5 minutes. So I think yeah, these kind of use cases for sure are gonna be the ones which are gonna be like winners. But yes, there are very bad apps. I have spoken to a couple of them. Literally during the demos, the app broke. The founder didn't had a clue because he said, "Oh, I used an AI tool to do it. I probably have to prompt the tool to fix it and find it out and so on." So I think that's where the human element is very crucial because AI kind of can give you that power and steroids for non-tech founders. I'm a non-tech founder. I don't know
Mm.
anything about tech, but if it wouldn't have been AI, I wouldn't have been able to explore, build, 8, 10, 9
Yeah.
amazing products which are working and making money on the side. So I think human element is gonna be more crucial, and I think you guys are doing a bang on of a job. I would love to ask you one question around customer support because you guys have worked with over 800,000 plus brands. At that scale, how does customer support look like for your merchants, and what have you learned around customer support at that scale?
We see customer support as uh, not something we have to do, not something we try to avoid, but it's an opportunity. It's really, it's interesting. We one of the metrics we look at every month, we have what we call an ops review. It's an operations review. We look at every department and just kind of like we look at the numbers. And one of the numbers our support team always reports on is the activation rate. An activation rate is when someone installs an app and they keep it past trial and
Hmm.
they become a paying customer so that they've activated. And we look at the activation rate when someone talks to a support agent, whether that's through chat, email, whatever, um, versus when someone doesn't. And it's triple when someone talks to the rate is 3 times higher if they speak to an agent. So you would think, well, that's interesting because usually when they're speaking to an agent, they have a problem. Like, why are they like that? That's not good if they have to reach out to get support. But what they're doing is they're building a relationship. That's number one. They're learning that there's people here. So it's actually better when someone, reaches out to support early on and you have a good interaction, because then if something does break or go wrong or something like a week later, they don't panic right away.
Right.
But if you've never reached out to support, you've never talked to anyone, like if you've never talked to Fathom ever, and then all of a sudden you go to search your meeting transcripts and they're gone or they're corrupted, and you're like, and you email support and you don't get a reply for a couple hours and you're panicking, and you go and leave a negative review somewhere or you post something on social media. But if you've had a few interactions with them and there's
Uh,
someone there and they're going to help, and now something bad happens, you might not just panic right away. Like you'll get through that because you've built that trust.
Relationship.
So so the support channel is not something I see a lot of people think of it as like, how do we reduce tickets? How do we minimize
Everyone is
support?
going
And
to AI for support.
yeah, and I think it's actually an opportunity right now if you want to stand out, like be the opposite. Like
Human support.
there's a big be human. Right now has never been a better time to be human.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't, it used to be, go back 20 years, like you could talk on a phone to every single person, and then they got rid of the phone, and then it was like chat, then they got rid of chat, then you had to only create tickets, then now they have like AI, and now it's like, I can't find a phone number, I can't find a human,
Email
I can't
address.
find an email address, I can only create a ticket, or I can chat. And it's, if you just said like, here's our phone number, like here's or you can chat with a human here, like it'll blow people's mind. And it's actually such an amazing opportunity right now to be human. But the problem is, a lot of, when we talk about these you know five AI slop like that category of apps, I find a lot of the people, they don't want to do support, like they're just interested in making money, and which is fine. There's nothing wrong with making money, but like they don't care deeply about the problem they're trying to solve. They don't care deeply about the merchants. They're not passionate about e-commerce. They probably loaded in a whole bunch of Reddit threads and customer reviews and asked ChatGPT, what app can I build based off of all these negative reviews and this, and like they don't even know what they're building, but they're just building something, and it'll it won't last. Like it's, yeah.
No, I think
Unless they develop like a passion for that space. Like I shouldn't say never, but
right. No, no, and that's been my own observation. As I was telling you, I spoke to a couple of folks who created this AI apps, and most of them have also moved on to some other new trend. And yeah, they kind of just skipped it. But what is really interesting is, in this AI swap era, in the AI support era, you guys are still relying on human support, and there is no better time to go into a human layer, to talk to the merchants, build that relationship, create that flexibility, create that trust. That's actually such an important point. And I think support often becomes a competitive edge in today's world if you're actually leveraging it this way. But most of the founders are not realizing it too quickly. And when they realize it, it's often too late. I would really love to take this opportunity to give a quick shout out to the support heroes for supporting this episode. They actually help Shopify app founders scale customer support while maintaining a high quality merchant experience. So, if you're a Shopify app founder planning to add customer support, a human layer, or even trying to hire a new support hire, check out the support heroes. They are probably one of the best support app teams out there. Uh, Jay, we are
I know
moving.
them. I know them well, and I met
Oh,
a
wow.
bunch of their folks at Tectonic last year, and they're awesome. I fully endorse them as well too. So throw that out there.
Again, the
Yeah.
support heroes recommended by Jay
Yeah.
Myers, the man, the
Yeah.
method, the legend, the OG himself. Awesome. Now, Jay, we are moving towards end of our podcast, and this is a segment I really love, which is a quick fire round. I have a couple of questions. Whatever comes to your mind, just go ahead and give the answer. You ready?
Sure. Sure.
Okay. Awesome. So, what's the one Shopify app you admire the most, and it can't be your own app,
Reactive.
mobile app platform?
Yeah, I think what they're doing is amazing. It's a whole bunch of ex Shopify people building it. It's a beautiful app, but I've seen the results that brands are having with it, and it's mind blowing. So what they can do is they can open a store's a native app without having to go to the app store. And so
Mm-hmm.
like if you run Instagram ads, you click on it, and then normally it would take you to a site or product page, but what they actually do is open a native app, and it's
It's
a
basically app skip. That's an iOS feature.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yep. And then once that's open, you can send a native push notification for up to 8 hours. And so acquisition, like you said at the beginning of the show, is so expensive. It's so competitive. So now if you're spending $60 to get someone to click and go to your site, now you can send push notifications saying for the next 8 hours. And so they're getting like 68% better conversion than when you just send them to a product landing page. Like I think anyways, so they're one for sure.
No, absolutely. I've actually worked with those guys back in my days at Global. Both Ross and the partner, they both were
Oh yeah,
working
you
with
were at
me.
Plobal? I didn't know
Yeah, yeah.
that.
Global. I spent like 5 plus 2, 5, 6, 7 years at Global.
Oh geez, small world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was one, like we help it grow from the initial 0 to 3 phase, and then that's when Global hired a bunch of Shopify folks. I kind of parted ways. I moved into a different company, but I think 2 years back again went back to Global. And that was my last stint. Last year around end of Jan is when I left the company and started the SaaS Hub and doing my consulting full time. But yes, what these guys are doing is amazing. What's the one e-commerce trend you are super bullish on?
Kind of say two. One right now is direct mail. I think there's a window of opportunity to, and this could have been another app actually that I mentioned as one to look out or try for, like the guys at Post Pilot. There's also another company called Handy Written, Hand WRYTTEN. But Post Pilot would probably be the one I would recommend. But anyways, whichever one you use is fine. But uh, inboxes are so crowded, and noise on digital is so crowded. But to actually get on someone's counter with a postcard is actually relatively cheaper than you think, and you can really target better than you think. Like you think like, oh, I just have to send it to everyone. No, you can target certain demographics, reactivate existing customers, and you can track conversion. Like when they buy, you know the address that it was sent to, you know the email address of that person. So I'm really bullish on direct mail right now. I think it's underused, but a lot of the big brands I talk to are using it. So like it might get crowded in a couple years, and then people are going to start having hundreds of flyers showing up in their mailbox. But right now it's not. It's not. Like if you're doing direct mail right now, you stand out. Like, so that one for sure. I'll leave it at just that one. Actually, that's one that I'm quite bullish on.
Okay, awesome. What's that one trend in e-commerce you're very skeptical about?
I am a little bit skeptical about TikTok Shop, to be honest. Like I think it's huge, and I think everyone should be investing in it right now. But I think it's one of those things where the rug could get pulled out from you, because you're building kind of like how brands, this was like 10 years ago, built massive audiences on Facebook and huge followings, and you would see people would just put their Facebook handle on billboards, not their website. Like it was like
Right.
Twitter and Facebook, they wouldn't even put their .com. It was like, this is our new place we're sending everyone. And then all of a sudden you couldn't reach them unless you paid, and only like 10% of your organic posts actually went to people who followed your page and joined your community and stuff. So it's a little bit risky building it totally on not a purely owned channel. And I know you could argue TikTok is sort of an owned channel, but it's not, because it's the
You don't
algorithm.
own it. You don't own TikTok.
You don't own it. It's the algorithm. TikTok finds the viewers for it. And it's just, I would still 100% do it. I'm not saying don't do it. Like people are crushing it on TikTok Shop right now, but don't only do that. Like, if something happened with TikTok Shop, do you still have a healthy business otherwise? That's what's important.
Got it. What's the one thing you think merchant misunderstand about retention today?
I think most merchants I talk to, when I talk about retention, they say, "Oh yeah, we have email flows set up," and they think that's what retention is. And it's not. Like retention is so much more than that, and it's like we could do a whole show on it. But I think retention is the probably the biggest thing I would be focusing on right now as a brand. Like when you get a customer, how do you bring that customer into your community, get them to feel like a VIP, like a member, join your membership program, predict when they need refills, educate them better on your product, to really understand who you are as a company, like it's your story, and become part of the story, right? Like, so yes, the biggest mistake is oh yeah, we've got a retention program. We have all our automated emails set up, and like, okay, 10% of people are reading them, right? So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's that one thing AI changes forever in e-commerce?
oh, so much. I think, whew, I think it, I think it's going to change the way that customers shop. Like you have to, right now you can game it, which is there's a window of opportunity where if you're a brand, you can, and I encourage brands to do this, but like, make sure your product schema is really well thought out. Make sure you have good FAQs on every page because AI loves FAQs. Make sure you have good structured reviews that speak to the product, not just this product is 5-star, 5-star, and you can prompt customers to leave reviews that describe why you bought this product. What would you say about it? And because AI scrapes all that, and it's actually it's kind of like SEO was like 15 years ago. It was easy to win, but AI is going to get incredibly better at this. But there's a window right now, but it's going to make it so a lot of these experiences with like bad products and not good service companies are not going to win. Like it makes it so much easier to do research on products. Like I watch my wife, how she shops, because she's like a avid online shopper, and every single product she's looking at, she goes to ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and asks it to find like the reviews and everything. And like it used to, like people used to watch YouTube channels. Now they just ask AI. And so it means that you got to make a good product. You have to be authentic. You have to give good customer support. You have to be truthful in your product descriptions. Like no more days of like getting something and it's half the size of like, tricking people. But, so I think it changes the way that trust is built and earned, and the way customers shop.
Nice, nice, nice. And lastly, where can people learn more about Repeat and how they can get into the Repeat program?
I would love to help anyone that wants to grow their recurring revenue. Subscriptions are great. We of course always do subscriptions, but Repeat is REPETE.me. So repeat.me. And actually I'll give, I'll make a special URL right after the show. What would be a good /SaaS Hub or okay. So SaaS Hub.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to make it /SaaS Hub. And I'll send you a link so you can put it in the comments as well, because I know this will go after. But like I said, it's completely free. There's only a charge if it actually makes you a sale, but we'll give everyone their first $10,000 in any sales that it generates 100% free. So even if it does generate a sale, then it doesn't cost anything. So free and free. So it'll be repeat.me/SaaS Hub. And yeah, that's the best place to go. And
Let's make it the SaaS Hub because, again, that's the name, the SaaS Hub.
the SaaS Hub.
The SaaS Hub, yeah.
Okay. Okay. The SaaS Hub. And don't worry, anyone listening, just go check the show notes because I'm sure you'll have it in there. So
awesome. Jay, thanks a lot for joining in today. This was such a fantastic conversation. I think what stood out to me today is that many of the biggest opportunities in e-commerce comes from questioning assumptions. One such assumption we have accepted for years is that subscription and retention are basically the same thing. This conversation challenged that idea and is a really thoughtful way. For anyone listening, definitely check out Bold Commerce and their latest venture, Repeat, REPETE, and Jay's Shopify 1% podcast. And thanks again for the support heroes for supporting this episode. I'll add all the details in the show notes of how you can access Repeat, how you can connect with Jay, and how you can even get in touch with the support heroes. And if you're evaluating adding a new support member to your team, again, a quick shout out to the support heroes. You can also book a quick call with me if you're a merchant and wanted to find the best tech stack for your store. I'm more than happy to get on a call and help you because at SaaS Hub, we curate top Shopify apps and help you get the best app for your store. This is me, Yuvraj Kevte, and another episode of the SaaS Hub Shopify Podcast. See you in the next one. Signing off.